What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. And alongside me today is Only Good Comics, Brant Fowler.
What's up, everybody?
And we don't have Kat with us this week because she is currently at Epic Universe over in Orlando. That's like where I live.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
crazy.
but the funny thing is we don't have time to see each other
Yeah,
because she's with everybody, and I had to work, and I had to actually help my father-in-law move stuff out of his garage. So it was a crazy day for me. So,
yeah,
but I hope she has fun. And nevertheless, we will still have a good show here tonight. We have our favorite comic books that we're going to talk about. And of course, we're going to talk about the topic at hand, and we're going to dive into the news, which there's not a ton of news, but we'll definitely discuss. But hopefully, you guys will enjoy the fun conversation that Brant and I are going to have when it comes to the Energon universe, because we felt like that this was a good conversation to do because Kat's not here.
yeah,
And Kat is obviously much younger than us, and she was never really into GI Joe or really into Transformers or any of that stuff. So Brant and I can like geek out on that stuff.
yeah,
So
for sure.
and we can speculate and stuff. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But with that being said, you can take Kat's place and you can start to kick off with the news here.
Yeah, so like you said, we don't have a whole lot of news. Well, that goes right over our faces. I shouldn't use that. But we'll start with the one media news piece we have, which is a new Avengers Doomsday trailer came out, which is the Black Panther slash Fantastic Four one. Did you get
When
a
did
chance to
that
watch
come
it?
out? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it came out earlier today.
Oh,
I'd
of
actually
course.
yeah, I'd actually seen it a few days ago, so it must have gotten leaked somewhere on YouTube and then got taken down because I when I watched it, I was like, I've seen this. I know I've seen this. But
Uh-huh.
it was they were in Wakanda. Shuri was talking to M'Baku, and then they show Namor for a second, and then all of a sudden you've got M'Baku shaking hands with the Thing, and he's like, "I'm M'Baku, the of the Kingdom of Wakanda," and he's like, "I'm Ben from Yancey Street, between this street and that street." It's that kind of thing. So, but that was all it was. But it was cool because Fantastic Four seemed to take place in a completely different type of world, right? So somehow these they're coming over, so it's gonna be
Did
pretty
you
cool.
ever see Thunderbolts?
Yeah, yeah, I did see Thunderbolts.
You saw the credit scene, right?
Yeah, refresh my
Do
memory.
so at the end, the Thunderbolts actually see an incoming spaceship,
Yeah.
and it
Oh
was
yeah,
the
that's right.
Fantastic Four ship,
You're
so
right.
they made a jump into their
Yeah, I totally
world.
forgot about that. When they finally went up in the rocket or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah, so that makes sense. So that's all it was. That was, I mean, you got a glimpse of Namor, you got a glimpse of the Thing meeting Shuri and M'Baku, and so that's pretty cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so we've got all the players on the board now, and I forgot
This
who else.
movie, man, this is gonna be wild to me. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how they're going to, um make this whole thing work with all these characters in here.
yeah, I don't know either. It's gonna be a lot to wrangle. Hopefully, they take the approach of like, let's focus on a few for this, part of the, you know, movie and kind of keep jumping around instead of like, let's throw 20 people on the screen at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'm like shaking everything. And I realized I didn't have my wedding ring on. I was like trying to find it and I'm like, okay, it's not in
Yeah,
here.
yeah, you don't wanna lose
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think it's in the bathroom. Oh well. Uh,
Lisa's gonna be like, "Why is your wedding ring on?"
yeah, exactly. Well, no, she she forgets to put hers on half the time too now. So we've kind of gotten a little bit lackadaisical about it.
That's funny.
Anyway, all right, so let's move on past the media news into the comic news. Uh, let's talk about Baby Garfield because why not? What a transition from from the Avengers Doomsday to Baby Garfield. I could have made another transition, but that's a bigger news piece. I wanted to save that one, but
All this I can say with Baby Garfield was that, okay, this is a good all ages comic book, and a good idea to get kids into Garfield if they don't even know who Garfield actually is.
Yeah, that's true. And I will say that whoever owns the Garfield licenses, like in media and everything, they have done a good job of keeping his presence kind of updated and revised for different generations between new cartoon shows and the live action movies and different things. I think he's kept in the zeitgeist, if you will.
Right.
So this is an interesting version of Garfield. The only I think Lisa was a little bummed because she used to color Garfield, and yeah, she's not doing this, but that's okay. But yeah, congrats to whoever is working on it because it
Yeah,
does
that's
look super
cool.
cute. Yeah,
Right. Got a couple questions here.
sure.
Um, Mike Manhattan says, "Hey, did you guys ever hear the story about Jim Steranko slapping Bob Kane?"
Nope, I have
Nope,
not.
definitely did not.
Cool.
And let's see. What do you think is going to be better, Doomsday or Dune? So
um,
I'm not
yeah.
A Dune fan. I had never even read or watched the other ones.
Hmm.
So
I I did watch the original. It was super boring. I had like play sets. I had the book. I had the novel when I was a kid. I couldn't get. I liked playing with the play sets, but I couldn't get into the actual story.
yeah, me
Now
either.
the new movies, I actually did like them, but they are also very very slow and
Yeah.
long and kind of drawn out. And if you're not in the mood for that kind of thing, or that's just not your vibe, you know? So for me and probably for all of us on this show, I think that's there's not even a comparison.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Uh, Kevin says, "Hello, only good and Spider Slayer." So welcome. And I did see this. Did you guys see any of the trailers for The Beauty? I've seen them
I have
all.
not. Oh, have
I
you?
Yeah, because I'm actually watching TV and they've been showing the trailers for it.
Okay.
And just seeing Ashton Kutcher in this show is
Yeah.
just wild to me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it makes me want to watch it actually.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. It's Lisa and I were talking about this because I she didn't know about it, and I was like telling her that they're making a show of it, and she's like, the original Beauty, like, is this a new thing? I'm like, no, it's the one that came out years ago, and they've brought out a new volume and all that stuff. And she was like, that was like one of my first flatting gigs when I started coloring was the Beauty, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool, the way
Yeah,
that
that is cool.
come around. So we'll definitely be checking it out, but I hadn't seen any of the trailers. So I'll definitely
Yeah,
have to
they've
check
been
it out.
showing it like all week because I guess it's getting ready to come out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right, so let's move on to Ryan Stegman is no longer on X-Men. And I believe is it Nito Diaz is taking over?
You
Um
have Tony S. Daniel on there too.
okay, yeah, it's
They're
two
both
different
doing it, I
artists, yeah.
think.
Yeah, so we've got Nito Diaz who is starting, to get more work at Marvel, I think. He started off doing some covers. He actually did a cover for one of our books, a few years ago. And yeah, so now he's getting some full-time gigs. So that and going opposite of Tony Daniel, I mean, that's you're in great company there, I think. So
Tony Daniel's artwork and we'll talk about it more later in X-Men this past week was really, really good.
yeah, and so we actually talked about last week how Ryan Stegman's kind of work here wasn't, as strong as it had been in the past.
Right.
So it's kind of a good thing to kind of freshen it up, especially we're coming out of this event and going into a new direction. So it's good to have a fresh paint job on it, right? So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. And let's see. We'll talk about the no, we didn't mark that one, so we'll skip that one. Okay. Sticking with Marvel, we'll talk about Ultimate Endgame. It's on track to be Marvel's top selling comic book of the last couple of years. No surprise there, really. Based on the early issues of the Ultimate
Are we
Universe, not so
talking
much.
about the issue that just came out or like the possible future issues?
Um, Let me look at the article real quick again. I thought I had it open. Oh no, it's like that's why it's not an article. It's just a tweet. I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
Yeah, because if it's based off of this first issue, well, obviously because you had the blind bags attached to it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's wrong. That's the movie.
That's the only thing I could think of because,
Yep.
Ultimate Endgame was okay, but I don't think it was, like, the best thing in the world,
Oh
you
no.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like because of the cover, the variant covers, and because it's the first issue, all of those reasons, is the reason that it's on track. So basically, what you were saying, probably the blind bags played into it a little bit.
Yeah,
Using the term in game, which obviously keeps in mind the movies
of
and
course.
everything. So yeah. Oh, here's an actual article. Uh, let's see. Yeah, it was on the top 9 bestseller list. It was up for that week. Um, let's see. For Marvel. Well, no, this is all across the board. 'Cause Spawn's on there as well. It was mostly Marvel, surprisingly. Ultimate Endgame, Sorcerer Supreme, Ultimates, Punisher, Red Band, X-Men: Age of Revelation finale, Predator kills the Marvel Universe, Marvel Zombies, Marvel Knights, and then Spawn.
Gotcha.
Um,
It's a slower week, though, and I
yeah,
think that's
yeah,
all that came out.
yeah. So I mean, it kind of makes sense that it would
Right,
be a high seller because it was the most interesting book that came out that week. So
exactly.
Um, yeah, so that mean but what does that say for Marvel sells if that is the top selling book of, the entire year? That's kinda
Because
crazy.
they had to have a blind bag in order to
Yeah.
do it, and that's I don't know, man, that's not that great in my opinion. It's, actually sad.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. That's kind of, I mean, this it's kind of going out in a whimper, right? Because the Ultimate Universe started strong.
Yeah,
Ultimate Spider-Man was fantastic for, like, the first 16, 17 issues.
yeah,
And then everything slowed down. Then we get the abrupt, conclusion coming, falling on in our laps. And it's like, okay, we're closing this all down. And then, yeah, so for that to be the top seller at Marvel is just, yeah, it's kind of sad,
yeah.
unfortunately.
And
um,
like I said, when I read the issue, I wasn't, like, all that blown away by it.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to remember exactly what even happened. I
it,
think I liked the, uh, the Ultimates better than the Ultimate and Game
yeah,
part.
the Ultimates was definitely better. The Ultimate Endgame, they found out the Maker became one with the city.
Oh,
He
that's
was like
right,
that giant tower. Yeah,
that's why I forgot because he became
yeah,
this gigantic tree in a city, and I'm like, "Wait a second, he's been gone all this time,
yeah,
and he's a freaking tree? Like,
yeah.
seriously?" And they came across Death Head, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's right, and it's like, of all the characters in
Yeah,
Marvel,
Death Head.
that's it.
The book
Yeah,
that came out, like, I remember there's, like, this '90s version of Death Head or whatever it
yeah,
was. I still have it in my collection, it's like a dollar bin book.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't care for the way that the direction that went. Like, the anticipation for that was like, "Oh, when the walls open, the Maker's gonna have this giant army, he's gonna come after us," and then they open, and there's this small resistance, and he's a tree or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like, what was all the hype for?
Right, you're expecting something, and
Ah,
then you see him that way, I'm like, "That doesn't make any sense."
yeah. While we're on the topic of Ultimate Endgame and stuff, though, they did release the April 2026 solicitations for the Ultimate Universe recently. I don't know if you saw these. Um, this article was actually published yesterday.
Oh, I
Uh,
did not.
yeah, so they listed out the titles. Ultimate Wolverine number 16 is the last issue for that one. Ultimates 24, Ultimate Endgame number 5, and then the Ultimate Universe finale, issue 1, which then they're bringing in all the creative teams of all the series into that one book, and kind of, everybody's doing a little bit of it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be over in April. Let's see. Ultimate Wolverine. It's Wolverine and Phoenix against Magic in a showdown.
Okay, I could see that coming that way. Yeah.
Yeah, in Ultimates, we got She-Hulk and her remaining teammates against the Hulk in
Oh,
this big, throwdown on Gamma Island.
we've been waiting for that because we haven't seen him since he destroyed
Right.
Iron Lad.
Yeah, exactly. In Ultimate Endgame number 5, it's the it's the showdown with the Maker.
Showmaker.
Showmaker. I'm a showmaker. Um, anyway, and it's oversized, by the way, oversized finale.
A figure,
Um,
yeah.
And then after the finale is the finale, the Ultimate Universe finale number 1 with all those creators, and it's a goodbye. It's let's see, the creative teams of all the Ultimate books come together one last time to say farewell. So that's all it says
Are they
about
all gonna write farewell and that's a page?
it.
Farewell,
Maybe.
farewell, farewell, and they'll do a little pinup page of, like, Ultimate Wolverine, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Mary Jane, like, all the characters.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, thanks for reading, thanks for spending all your money. I'm
Right.
I'm curious, man.
Yeah, I am too. It's like how are they gonna do this? I'm gonna show the covers for these last issues. Let's see, there's Ultimate Wolverine.
That's a cool cover, I like that.
Yeah.
Too
Uh,
bad all the people they're showing there are dead.
right? Yeah, except for Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the Ultimates.
Okay, that's cool.
I
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, I guess that's who's left. We got Hawkeye, Cap, um, and a few others.
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, obviously.
Yep.
Here is Ultimate Endgame. Doctor Doom at the forefront.
Mhm.
And then we got the ultimate finale.
Let's go. How many pages is it?
It doesn't
600.
Yeah, it doesn't
Doesn't
say.
say?
Yeah, it doesn't say the price or the page count for any
Of
of them.
course not.
Of course.
God dang. Why'd you be like 64 pages?
Yeah.
$10.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the ultimate Endgame number 5 is double size or oversized, it says. So
Oh, is it? Yeah.
yeah, it's probably gonna be like $7.99. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I overall liked the concept and what they were
Yeah.
going, but then once they got to that standstill, they've just been stalling this entire time.
It's almost like the Absolute Universe came out and they're like, "Well, we can't match that. Let's just close it all down." No, I'm kidding. It was probably always in their plans or I don't know, maybe creators didn't wanna continue doing. I don't know what the reason, but it felt so abrupt. It didn't feel like, I mean, I know we were counting down to the Maker's return, but it didn't feel like that was gonna be the end, to me at least. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
maybe other people feel differently. It didn't feel like the end to me until they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna end this all," just out of nowhere.
Or if you were gonna end it, like, you could have done it much sooner instead of stalling it out like they did.
Yeah. Yeah, because there were, like, at least, like, 3 or 4 issues, maybe more, of Spider-Man that was just, like, holding pattern, right? So,
Right. Well, it is what it is. Let's hope for a strong ending. That's what I'm hoping for. And
yeah.
then where does it go from here? Because obviously there's that speculation out there of like, are we going to get another Ultimate Universe? Is Brian
Yeah.
Michael Bendis going to take over the Ultimate Universe? Like,
Yeah.
curious, right?
Yeah. I mean, nothing's forever. They keep saying we're closing the doors forever on the Ultimate Universe, but they could just twist that and say that version of the Ultimate Universe,
Sure, absolutely.
So, yeah, I I'd be really curious to see if Bendis would go there again and what they would do with it. Like, what could they do different than what they've done before, and how do they bring it back and all this stuff. So, yeah, but that's for another time. We've got one more news story which kind of ties into our main topic, and that is um, I just lost it. Energon Universe free comic book day books, and we're going to talk about what those might have in store. Which this is actually free comic book day, titles as opposed to what was the other name of the event? It's the same day, it's the
It's
same
the
event,
same
but
thing. It's
yeah,
I don't know why. It's
comic book free comic giveaway day or something. I don't know.
Yeah, comic giveaway day or something.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're getting 4 all new stories from Transformers, GI Joe, Void Rivals, and more. So I'm really curious what that more is, and that kind of fuels a little bit of our topic, right? So we'll
Right.
get into that very shortly. But we have all the talent between from all those books. Robert Kirkman, Joshua Williamson, and all the other creators involved are going to be in this. Um, we've got GI Joe and Transformers uniting in shared comic book continuity for the first time in all this in this whole line. It kind of talks about the line a little bit here, so I'm going to skip that. It doesn't really give us a whole lot of information about that. So
Right.
it's we're going to have some speculation about what is actually in this book. Um, I'm guessing whatever they put in the Free Comic Book Day book is going to kind of hint at either an event or just like the next chapter for the Energon universe for the various titles.
I
Um,
agree.
not
I
exactly
think I
sure.
think it'll probably introduce certain things in there, and
Yeah,
then, what's it called? And then it's just gonna launch in the next issues.
yeah. So I guess we'll just use that to springboard into our main topic because one of the things that could possibly in there because they said 4 all new stories. They named the 3 ongoing titles they have now, and then they said and more. And we already have seen Miles Mayhem from Venom, which is the villain in Mask,
Yep.
in the pages of these comics of GI Joe specifically. And I think it was in GI Joe, right?
My
Yeah, it was in,
and,
or was it
uh,
or was it in Transformers?
Transformers,
Was it in Transformers?
Miles Mayhem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We seen the other character in G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
the guy that drives a motorcycle, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
We've seen him, and I think last year they showed an image or on the back cover or something like that. Matt Tracker was on there too.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So there
did.
was there was that also. Oh
Right.
yeah, see, in the Energon special last year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's I mean, obviously we're getting Mask at some point, and this seems like the year they built it up just a little bit, and they built that contention with Miles Mayhem, right? So they at first he was working with them, and then he was like, "No, I've got my own tech. I don't need Energon." So it kind of swerved us a little bit there, but they've definitely got plans for it. Um, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do if they're gonna like further cross them over, if we're gonna just introduce Mask as a separate entity and then kind of build towards like an event in a year or two.
Yeah.
Um, which I,
I
I
could
think is
see them getting like their own book
yeah,
and then maybe like you said crossing over here and there. So I don't know.
yeah. What do you think? Do you think we're gonna get more of the Mask characters within like Transformers and GI Joe and stuff first before
That's
we get
hard
the
to
book?
tell. It seems like they're just building up those main characters first. So
Yeah.
we could see the organization. So we could see
Mm,
like the building blocks,
yeah.
like Miles Mayhem or Matt Tracker. And then you could see, say, Mask Book comes out, and you could see maybe the recruitment of other characters, how they got their vehicles, how they came up with their suits, how because they both have the technology, both groups. S
I've got a theory. What
Y
if 'Cause, obviously, the character that was arguing with Miles was from G.I. Joe, right? General Flag, I think it was.
Yeah,
Um, what if to counter Miles Mayhem's plan, like, maybe he gets involved in this whole altercation, he causes a stir up in the current, world. Maybe he helps Cobra out or the Decepticons or something, and then to counter that, Mask is kind of created as maybe an offshoot of GI Joe, or maybe as an alternate to GI Joe to combat this Venom threat. That could be interesting.
yeah, that I mean, that's very possible, or it's like they take the twist from it, right? And they use the Energon in order to build the technology,
Yeah,
and that's how they power it.
yeah, and that makes sense because they're already using it and Destro's using it for his vehicles and stuff. And it
Right.
just
So, yeah.
yeah,
So, what if Venom teams up with Destro, right? And
yeah,
then says, "Oh, we gotta take on," because Cobra Commander right now is like working with Duke. So
yeah,
what if he says, "Oh, hey, why don't you come with us? I'll build you your technology. We'll use the energon that we have, and we can build your vehicles and shit like that."
yeah, yeah. That could be really interesting. There's several ways that they could go. Yeah. We got this comment too. I have a feeling we've seen a Gator cameo in the Dreadnought War. There's a red Jeep that keeps popping up. Yeah, I thought the same thing when I saw that red Jeep. That was the
Yeah.
one that had like the compartment in the back shot out into and it became like a boat or something, I believe. Um, yeah, in that whole like Dreadnought War and everything, especially like the cover image and everything, you could look at some of those vehicles and be like, that could be a mask vehicle. You
Yep.
know, some of those bikes and different things. It just, yeah, it feels like they're slowly just kind of, peppering this stuff in to kind of tease us and get us hyped up for it, which I think is really cool.
We got a comment on there. It says, "What the
Yes.
fuck is masked?" So, yes, you younger kids out there, I will not know what masks are, what mask is, you know?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people that had suits, masks that they would wear, and they would have vehicles that they would drive or fly, and these vehicles would actually transform. And this is the perfect cartoon back in the '80s because all these cartoons are super popular, including Transformers. So
Mm,
they sat there and said, "Why not make another cartoon with transforming stuff?" And that's how they came out with Mask. Yep, that's
yeah.
it right there.
Yeah. So yeah, they had Matt Tracker was the lead character of the good side, and his car would fly. The doors would come up, which was popular in the '80s. Those kind of cars,
Yeah,
like Camaros and stuff, and it would fly. They had the motorcycle copter. They had different vehicles that did different things, and all the masks did different things. So
right.
like one guy, he could
Can
lift
make
things. Yeah,
yeah, and another guy can make holograms.
yeah. So each one had different abilities, which is why Mike and I, when we saw Rook Exodus, it was like, oh, this is kind of cool because it's very similar to Mask in a very different way,
Right.
right? So, yeah, it was a really cool show until they changed it into a race a racing thing, like
Yeah.
on the second or third season or something. They're like, let's just make them compete in races because that's cooler than just fighting each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
It killed it, by the way. But yeah, no, it's and it makes sense in the world of the Energon universe where everything is kind of tied in and they're borrowing technology from each other and everything. So yeah.
You see, they just released it says, wave 1 of the new
Uh,
Mask toy line.
there you go.
That just says it all right there.
Yeah, they're getting ready.
And I want 6-inch action figure Rook. They would freaking do awesome if someone could pick up on that toy on a toy line for Rook Exodus.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. And I would even love to see the 3 3/4 inch like the GI Joes were
Right.
of those. I think that'd be cool as well. But yeah, either way, the action figures or statues or anything of those characters from Rook Exodus would kill, man. They'd be
Oh
cool.
god, yeah.
I
So
saw
what was your favorite Mask character?
oh, that's tough. I okay. So from the bad guys, I really liked I'm trying to remember his name. Um it was the guy with the spiky blonde hair that kind of stuck up out of the top of his mask and he had a red motorcycle
Yeah, I
that
remember him.
that
Yeah.
that turned into kind of a plane.
Yep.
I can't think of his name though. I'll tell you that the first one I ever got too as a toy was his name was Sly something, and he also had a motorcycle, but it had like a sidecar on it, and the
Oh,
sidecar shot off. You
uh-huh.
you
I
remember
remember
that one?
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first Mask toy was the one with the green bike and the
Okay.
yellow
Yeah.
seat.
The
Yeah.
Condor.
Yeah.
Brad something was his name. I remember
Yeah.
that. But yeah, the Condor, we actually between me and my cousin, we had 3 of him for some reason.
Because he was the cheap one.
Yeah. And we had because we had 3 of them, we had a friend, who customized, like, different toys and stuff, so he painted it black, and so we had a black version and his the little figure he painted, like, silver, so we had a black and silver one, so it was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I had Matt Tracker's car. I had both of
Uh-huh.
those motorcycles. I had, oh, at one point, I had it was kind of like a van that popped up into I don't remember if it was a rocket inside or if it was, like, just like a battle station or something, and then I also had their big, Boulder Hill, the set that they
Oh,
the base
yeah,
of
that was pretty
operations.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted Miles Mayhem because I like the jet, and it's
Yeah.
kind of funny, like, the transformation was from jet to helicopter,
Yeah. That
and
was
it's instead the
yeah.
other way around, like, why
Yeah.
would it not be helicopter to jet? Like, you
Right?
know?
Yeah. And then, future iterations of Miles Mayhem, when they went to the racing thing, I did like his car a lot, and my friend had it. My friend down the street had it. It would split into 2 separate, like, single person, almost motorcycle, almost Tron-like cycles, and they would shoot out separately. I thought that was pretty cool. My
Uh-huh.
friend also had the big, semi rig that the 2 characters came with.
Yeah.
I always wanted that too. I was jealous of him. He had a lot more mask toys than I did, but I had a lot more GI Joe toys than he did, so we we would share. But yeah, those were some of my favorites. And then there was a black like a Trans Am at one point.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was some kind of Trans Am or something at one point that I really liked as well.
He's like, "I'm gonna look it up."
Yeah, exactly. What about you? What were some of your favorite ones?
So, I didn't have that many mask, toys.
Yeah,
I only had a couple, um, but like I said, the one I had was the green motorcycle, the Condor. I always wanted Miles Mayhem, but I never got that. Um, but I just like the concept of the show.
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, had good action. I love the characters, the creativity of it, and it just was right in line with like Transformers and G.I. Joe for me,
yeah.
so that was that.
There was one I really wanted, also because I for some reason back in the day I was big into '57 Chevys,
Yeah.
and there was a '57 Chevy with flames on the front of it.
Oh,
And I
yeah, that you showed that it showed it on the picture that you
did it
showed
show?
before.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I really wanted that one. I'm gonna show some of the old toys here in a second. There we go. There's a bunch of them. See if I
Oh,
can.
yeah. Yeah, I remember that red truck.
Yeah, yeah. So
Seeing
that
all these, like, really jogs the memory.
right. So that purple motorcycle with the sidecar that was the first one I got.
Yep, I remember that. I have
Yeah,
a friend that had the red truck, that had the black one,
yeah,
um, of course, the red motorcycle.
yeah.
Trying to see if there was anything else. And
And that
it's funny because the figures,
uh-huh.
they had no articulation to them
No,
whatsoever. They just sat in the car.
and they were so small too, they were like 2 inches.
Yeah, and their masks will come off.
Yeah, that was it. Their arms could move like Star Wars figures, like up and
Yeah,
down.
that's exactly what they were.
Yeah, um, but yeah, that semi my friend had that, I was so jealous of that one. Oh, and the Doom Buggy, the Doom Buggy was a cool one back in the day. There's the '57 Chevy in the background too.
Yep, yep, I see it.
Yeah,
That's funny, man.
yeah, they had so many toys of that, so I can only imagine these days with the advances in toy making and everything, what they could do with those.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be insane.
Well, since, we're speculating that Mask could be coming out, which, I think it definitely is. What do you think is what could happen with, like, Transformers at this point?
Oh man. well, we've got in the upcoming issue, which we'll talk about a little bit later, we've got RC kind of making some kind of decision, and
Yeah.
maybe alliances are changing, and things are going to happen that way.
It
Um,
just seems like Ultra Magnus is like he's relinquishing his rank of
yeah,
Magnus, and he wants to give it to RC.
yeah, that's true. So she could just become the next Magnus. I think before it's over, we're gonna see some people switch sides though. Like Alita One, that's on Cybertron now. I don't know what's
Mm,
gonna go on with her,
yep.
and especially seeing when she finds out that Optimus, brought on a Decepticon to the team. I think I don't know. I think there's gonna be some
She's really
tension
gonna look
there.
at him as a traitor.
Yeah, exactly. So
And Shockwave is still alive, remember? We saw that at
yeah,
the cliffhanger,
yeah,
and and Thundercrackers is there. I just what's good about that book is you have no idea what is going to happen, and that's what I like.
Cat's getting her hair done. That's why she's not here. Yeah. No, yeah, I love it too. You really don't know, and it's again we talk about this all the time, but I love how even when they introduce new characters, they're not throwing every single character in the universe at us all at the same time. Just because we have more characters doesn't mean we have to have them all on the page all at once and talking all at once, which is
Right,
what we've gotten in past versions of this series. So yeah, I think we're going to see some new characters. Um I really think because they introduced Miles Mayhem in the series, I mean, it may just have been a kind of a backdoor pilot kind of thing, but I have a feeling they're going to do something with that. Maybe he does team up with Megatron somehow. Um,
right.
yeah. So have they announced who is replacing Dan Moore on Transformers yet? Um, I don't think so. Have they?
No, not that I've heard. I mean, he's only done, like, 2 issues so far, so it's
Yeah.
like I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. They may not even know yet. Let's see. I'll Google that. But I don't know. What do you think about GI Joe? What comes after the Dreadnought War?
Oh, man, this is a tough one, like, I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know what is in store for Cobra Commander. I think that's the big deal because they set up for his demise,
Yeah.
right? So, like, where does Cobra Commander stand now with Destro going forward? And Destro is the one that's kinda leading Cobra at this point,
Yeah.
you know? And does, Cobra Commander have an ally with Duke and G.I. Joe? I like, it could anything could actually happen here.
Yeah. I think, and I may have mentioned this on the show before. Um, I think that the Baroness on GI Joe is not the real Baroness. I think the real Baroness is Astoria that's with Destro, and I think the Baroness on GI Joe is going to die somehow.
It's possible, yeah. Because the woman who is the woman that's with Destro right now in the
I
comics? She plays as the Baroness there.
Yeah, it's I think her name's Astoria, which I think Baroness's name was Anastasia, so it's really close.
Right.
Um, it seems more likely that she would take on that role as opposed to the GI Joe version just defecting and becoming the new girlfriend of Destro or whatever. That just doesn't. She seems too loyal, and they've tested her loyalty, right, with
Yeah,
that whole thing with CoverGirl and everything. So
absolutely, and yeah, and taking down Major Blood too.
right, yeah. So I can't see that happening. I think Major Blood's going to come back and kill her, and then this other woman's going to become the Baroness that we know.
Right.
So, and that's gonna cause a bunch of upheaval in GI Joe and everything. Um, somebody said in the comments, "Snake Eyes, please." Dynamite said that. Um, I mean, he's my favorite GI Joe character of all time. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. I just love Snake Eyes, but
How does Snake Eyes work in a comic, though?
that's the thing. He overtook the Marvel version of GI Joe. It became the Snake Eyes book. It wasn't
Right.
about GI Joe anymore, and that's one of the things they decided when they started the Energon universe was to not focus on Bumblebee because he had been
Yep.
so overused, and not
Yep.
focus on Snake Eyes because he had been so overused.
Right.
So if we do see Snake Eyes, I don't think it's going to be for a long while
Right. Who's your favorite character in that book?
in the GI Joe book.
Yeah.
That's tough. Um, right now, I'm kind of liking Clutch with his friendship with the Transformer.
Yeah, with Hound. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
with
good.
Hound. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. I actually do like the Baroness character. I like this version of the character because it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Cobra Commander in
Mhm.
this version too, because he's
He's not a
not
wimp.
such a
Yeah.
coward,
Yeah.
right? It's like, yeah, he was always sneaking around and planning things, but this Cobra Commander wants to kick some ass and take names. He's very evil, diabolical. He'll do nothing to do whatever it is that he needs to do, and he's willing to step up to the plate and do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I love his like electronic hand that shoots blasts like Iron Man. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would probably go with him. And I do like the Dreadnoks in this Dreadnought war with them drinking their grape soda and everything is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, they're cool, which is it's hard to do with the Dreadnoks. They've been fun and not that's just like Cobra Commander. They're not as goofy as they were like in the cartoon or whatever. Um, so and they don't have to rely on Zartan right now because he's not even a presence in that whole
Yeah.
group. You have his brother and sisters, Xandar and Savannah, in there, but it's mostly focused on that core group of Dreadnoks, Buzzer, Ripper, Torch, etc. Which is it's kind of fun. I like that they're kind of moving away from those main characters aside from Duke and Cobra Commander and kind of highlighting some of the second and third tier characters
Yeah,
so
exactly.
far. Yeah. That did we see Snake Eyes in the Scarlet Book? I know we saw Jinx.
Storm Shadow.
Storm Shadow. Yeah, we saw Storm Shadow. So
I
I
don't
think
remember if we saw Snake Eyes in the Scarlet Book.
I don't remember seeing Snake Eyes, but just having Jinx and Storm Shadow and everything, I think they were saying, yeah, he probably exists in this world, but we're gonna wait until we're gonna wait a
Right.
bit. I think eventually they will get there, but his role is going to be limited, which I think it should be. You know, you don't want to overdo it again and just
Yeah,
like have him take
absolutely.
over. Yeah.
Um, but going back to Transformers, who do you think who is your favorite Autobot or Decepticon?
Uh, um. See, that's hard too. That's even harder, I think,
Yeah.
because for one, I sometimes forget the Transformers names. They're harder for me to remember.
Uh-huh.
Um. I don't know. You start with that one, and I'll think about it.
Okay. Well, I'll say I have 2, and no matter what, I love how Cliff Jumper's in this one.
Yeah.
And Cliff Jumper is just he's a badass, and I love him. And he takes place of Bumblebee. So I think that's very cool that, you know, Daniel Warren Johnson and Robert Kirkman decided to keep Cliff Jumper in there. So
Yeah.
he's really cool. I think Optimus Prime is cool because he's written very well.
Yeah.
Um, Megatron is super brutal. I love Soundwave. I'll
Yeah.
I'll never
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's like and I love the way he is in this comic, and I love how he stepped up to the plate to be the Decepticon ruler, and we've seen him do stuff that we've never seen him do in the cartoon. So I
Yeah.
think that's why he really kinda is my favorite character in this comic.
Soundwave has always been a favorite of mine. Just, I mean, the concept is cool. Yes, it's very 80s, but it I don't know. Back in the day, it was cool because you got like three Transformers in one, basically, when you got him, and you could get the extra, little cassettes and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just cool. And yeah, I think they've really done him justice here. And his loyalty to the Decepticons and to Megatron and all that stuff, I think is really cool. The version of him that they did in Transformers One, was cool as well. I really like that movie, by the way. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if we
did
ever got.
too. I thought it was really
Yeah,
good. I know people were dogging on it, but I liked it. I like
yeah,
seeing the early days before they ever even became, Decepticons and Autobots, and you got to see the 2 separate paths, and
yeah,
I thought it was great, man. Really cool stuff.
yeah. I really enjoyed it. So I don't get the hate for it, but to each their own. Um,
Right.
yeah, Soundwave is a favorite as well. I always like Starscream just because he's that snivelly kind of. I don't know.
He is Cobra Commander. He's
Exactly.
exactly Cobra Commander.
Yeah, and it's like when they came up with Serpentor and GI Joe, it's like that was the Megatron Starscream dynamic was
Right.
Serpentor and Cobra Commander. Um, but you could plug in Destro in there in the current kind of thing. There's a little bit of tension there between those two, but Cobra Commander is like you said, he's brutal. He's strong. He's not weak. I like this version of him a lot. Which, we kinda got glimpses of that version of Cobra Commander in different settings, like, in the Marvel run, when we hit I wanna say it was, like, issue 107, Cobra Commander came back from the d no, he came back from the dead in, like, issue 200 or 100 or something like that. I think it was 100, and then he kinda went on a killing spree. He was just like, "I'm gonna go after the Joes, and I'm gonna be, this cool villain and I'm not gonna be scared anymore and I'm gonna show them how dominant I am. And then he tells this Saw Viper, take them out. And this Saw Viper kills 7 GI Joes. And he's like, you what? You killed them? Oh my god, they're gonna kill me. So then it became this snivelly cover commander all over again, which I thought was hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, I like this version of Cover Commander a lot. But going back to Transformers, I always like the planes too. Any whether it's a Autobot or Decepticon, I always like the planes. I really was a big fan of like the aerial bots that form Superion.
Yeah. I like the
So
combiners too. I'm always a
yeah,
big Constructicon fan. I
yeah,
mean, they were the first combiner, and when you saw them, I remember watching that episode of Transformers, and the Dinobots were introduced at that same timeline.
yeah,
And when they combined, and when I was a kid, I remember I was like,
yeah,
"What?" I was so blown away by that.
yeah. And then they had the toys that combine. It's like, oh my god,
Oh yeah, it's like I get
yeah,
the toys, and it's like I remember like I was gathering like 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. I'm like, "Oh, look, I got the body with like 1 leg, and then I got like, and I had like the whole thing and then except an arm." So like I would pretend I'd be like, "Oh, I'm missing so and so," and I would still have them battle. But the funny thing is like Devastator was the same size as Jetfire.
right,
Yeah,
yeah. It was kind of ridiculous, but oh well. They never did the scale right on some of those. And then
exactly.
And then I could never get the combiners, like all the combiners. I'd have 1 or 2 but at one point my stepdad got me like this set of combiners and I was like, "Well, these aren't real Transformers. These are just some gas station knockoffs, but
Yeah,
that's
there's some
okay."
knockoffs. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I still played with them. It was
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. That's funny. All right, let's talk about one more book before we get into the real comics this week. So there's one more book, and I feel like it's always the one that's under the radar here.
Sure.
It's Void Rivals.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's the book that kicked off the Energon universe, where we knew that you know, Robert Kirkman said, "Hey, I'm gonna put an Autobot in this book, and it's gonna be Jetfire."
Yeah.
And that first issue, you read that last page, and you're like, "Wait a second." I'm like,
Yep.
"That's Jetfire?
Yep.
He's here? He's in Image Comic?" It's like, "Oh my god." That was
Yeah.
such a huge surprise, and ever since you've had Hot Rod and Springer in there, and now we're getting the Quintesson War that's gonna go on in there.
Yep.
I'm very curious to see out of everything in the Energon universe, how these 2 races, right, are gonna come together and and it all cross over. I am
Yeah.
very curious. Is the connection here the quintessence, or is it something more than that? You know what I'm saying? It looks like they have a Unicron character in here, some
Yeah.
type of world eater. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Goliath.
what to
Yeah.
expect.
Goliath and Ulta or uh, Zeta Trion.
Yeah.
Um, or Zerta Trion. That's what it is. Yeah, I think there's more to it, and I wonder, like at some point with the toys, and I think in the cartoon they did this thing where there were like these little I forget what they were called, but there were like little people inside some of the Transformers. Do
Oh,
you
like
remember this?
the head things?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
remember them.
wonder if this is a play on that. Like somehow, because they have the ports in their head, I wonder if somehow they're gonna, I don't know, if it's gonna become a version of that and they're gonna be linked to the
Oh,
Transformers in a
yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah, that could be.
Headmasters,
Yeah, the
Optimus said.
headmasters.
Yeah. What a
Didn't they
name.
have, like, the micromasters and the
Yes.
headmasters
Yes.
and the
Oh,
stunticons, and they
yeah.
had so much gimmicky stuff as the time went on.
Yeah. I love the Stunticons though. I thought they were great.
The stunticons were a combiner, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah, I
were.
like them. I thought they were cool.
Yeah, there was an episode of the cartoon where Optimus and a few of the Transformers painted themselves to look like the Stunticons and tried to
Yes.
combine, and then they fell apart. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Uh-oh. You're getting you're getting called out, Mike.
Oh
I
god,
don't know
I
how to
heard this
pronounce it
before.
either.
I can't say it right. I don't even know. I
I
couldn't even tell you the last time I, actually heard the correct
Yeah. How do you say
pronunciation
it?
for it. It's quintessent? Is that how it looks like quintessent,
I
right?
say I say Quintesson, and I don't know if that's right either. I really don't know,
I thought it
honestly.
was quintessent. I don't know. I know now I can't even say any of it.
Yeah. Tell us. Somebody spell it out for us. I really don't
Yeah,
know.
right? Dynamite's liking the, Schizoid character in Void Rivals. I am too.
Yeah.
I am really intrigued in that story.
Yeah. Such a throwaway character that they've turned into this this massive part of this story in Void Rivals and in the larger, Energon universe, obviously, because he's a Transformers character. Just crazy.
Yep,
But he is very interesting character.
absolutely.
Like multiple man, but with a really gruesome twist, right?
Yeah, man. It's just like, and you're thinking that he was the first split
Yeah.
from the ruler, and the ruler is like, "Oh, we need to split him, like, multiple times." And then it's like he took over, like, he destroyed the bot that actually splits the characters in half and everything. I just it's so weird. So it's Quintesson.
Quintesson.
Quintesson? Yeah,
Quintesson.
Quintesson?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand this comment. The Decepticons jets were known as Seekers, but in your understanding of Transformers lore, who were the contention name of the aerial bots? Well, the aerial bots were the Autobot
Autobots.
that combined into Superion.
Correct. And the jets, the Decepticon jets, yes, were known as seekers,
Yeah,
but the aerial bots were always good guys.
yeah, yeah. They came in later. It wasn't like
It
the first.
was
Yeah,
I was it before the movie or after the movie? It was before, wasn't it?
I don't
Had to
remember.
be before.
Probably, but like late. Like they weren't around for a really long time
Right.
before the movie. Yeah,
So, yeah, but the Energon universe has been a great thing. I think overall it's been one of the best things that's happened in comics in a long time. And I think you don't have to be a fan of Transformers or G.I. Joe to really have gotten into this whole thing. And I'm hoping that a younger generation has gotten into it, which I
yeah,
think I know there's some people that have,
yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it's doing something right because it's still selling.
Yeah.
So,
I
you know,
the thing about it is, it's the Daniel Warren Johnson connection, I think. I think that was the smartest move they could have done because he gained such a fandom for people across, different ages, and a lot of the people that I watch that are younger, they're big DWJ fans, and so
right.
when he was on Transformers, it was like they became Transformers fans, and so it was a really smart move for them to kind of play that, and so yeah, I think it has kind of opened the door for new fans to discover these old properties, which is really cool. And that makes me smile, so much
Absolutely.
because I'm a we grew up with these. We're huge fans of these characters.
Yeah.
So
And to bring it back in this way, it
yeah,
just not only is it nostalgia, but it continues all these adventures that were, like, put on hold for years upon years, all the
yeah,
possibilities, right? And it just it's brought forth to you, and I am looking forward to that.
yeah. And it's like I know IDW had the license for a long time, but they rebooted both of those franchises several times throughout the course of having them, and it just wasn't quite the same. Like, I appreciate they brought back the Marvel run and which Skybound continued with Larry Hama and everything. So that's cool, but I don't know. The Energon universe has just done something different and special with them that I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just better in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's we talked about it before. IDW
Yeah.
was always an info dump. And
Yeah.
it just wasn't it was boring. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
There was a couple series I felt that were good,
Right.
but I always tried picking it up and I was always like, "Man, I have never been so bored reading a Transformers comic in my life."
Yeah. Yeah,
You
for sure.
know.
I
So,
remember I was covering some kind of event they were doing, when we first started doing these shows together. You remember that? Like, they had this big crossover event between the 2 Transformers books, and I decided I'm gonna review every issue of this
I
event.
do remember that, and it
Yeah,
became this bore fest. I was like,
yeah.
"Oh
I don't
my
think I ever finished
gosh."
it even. I think I
Right?
couldn't I got through, like, half of it, and I'm like, "I can't do this." It's
Wasn't there a story like, All Hail Megatron or something like that
Yeah,
too?
it was something. Yeah, there was something about, like, I think Starscream became the leader of the Transformers at some point on Cybertron, and all this weird stuff was happening. I don't know. Bumblebee was leader of the Autobots, and Starscream was leader of the Decepticons. I don't know. A lot of stuff happened in the IDW era.
Huh. Alright, cool. So that was our Energon universe discussion. I felt like it was kind of fun. I know a couple
Yeah,
people mentioned, Battle Beasts on there, or do you remember those things?
I think so. I'd have to
Those
see
lit
him. Yeah.
those little creatures where you rub the symbol and it was fire, wood,
Oh
a
yeah,
and
yeah,
water, and
yeah.
it's like, "Fire beat water, water beat fire,"
Yes,
like, yeah.
yes. I do remember that now. I remember the commercials. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, and then they had, like, thousands of these little things, like, it started off with a few of them, and they had 1,000 of it. It was crazy, man.
yeah. There's there was I mean, toys were galore back in the day, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you had obviously you had GoBots, and then you had the spinoff of the GoBots, which were those rock transformers. I forget what they were called,
Yes.
but you know what I'm talking about.
I remember those, yeah.
Yeah, I had a few of those, or at least one of
Yep.
them. And then we have Muscles. You
Oh,
got them in
dude,
the
I
like the
had
gumball
tons of
machines.
muscles.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
A whole shoebox full of them.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember because they would come in, like, little packs of 4,
Yeah.
and then,
Or you
I
could even
remember
get them
they
in
had, like
gumball machines, yeah.
yeah, and they had bigger packs of them,
Yeah.
and then I had the ring where you
Oh,
actually
did you have the ring? That's
yeah, yeah, and it was like this, and then when they fall off, I think that's when it's over,
yeah,
and, do you remember when they, like, started making them change color? They were, like,
yeah,
different colors?
yeah,
I was like, "Why did they change color?" I think it was supposed to be, like, this power level or something like that, I don't
yeah.
know,
It's
but
because color change technology was all the rage at that point, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, I had so many of those guys,
I know,
and they
man.
made them so corny looking.
Yeah, and they were just talking about no articulation. They were
Oh my
just like
god, they
these
were
little
just little
rubbery.
rubber pieces
Yeah,
of thing. They were like that
yeah, they
big.
were
They were
real,
so
real little.
tiny.
Yeah, oh, that's crazy.
It's funny. All right, well, let's get into the comic books. Oh shit, man, my computer's almost dead. Holy cow. I only
Well,
got
we've been talking for an hour already.
30%. Wait, I don't think it was fully charged when I went to go
Yeah,
plug it in.
it must
All
not
right,
have been.
let's get into the comics before my
All
computer dies.
right.
So, all right, let me switch it here. All right. First book we're going to talk about is the big book this week. We had Absolute Batman Arkham Special. So this was the big boy this week.
Mhm.
I liked it. I thought it was really, really good. I do like the artwork in it. I thought it had that real creepy, eerie vibe to it. I love the story of Arkham. I love this like adopted son basically that he
Yeah,
had. We kind of figure out who this guy
yeah,
is by
right.
the time you wind up getting to the end of it. Um, I thought it was good. I really enjoy everything that's coming out of that story.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I love the way that it was structured. Kat was right. It was very much like the Jack Grimm story that we got previously in Absolute Batman. Kind of, but it was it, it had some of that narration style, but then when you go into the actual flashback and tell the story of Arkham and everything, I thought that was really cool. And like you said,
Yeah.
you could see it coming, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it was building that. Is it the guy in the cell or is it the son? And it kept
Yeah,
you go
it
went
was
back and forth. Yeah.
you like, I felt like when you were reading it, it was like this really big like, you were getting that tension was building, right?
Yeah,
And I'm,
right.
like, turning the page, like, expecting it, but I was just so into the story.
Yeah,
So I had a blast with this one.
yeah. It was a lot of fun, and man, just adding to that lore of this Jack Grimm character.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, I felt bad for just everything that was going on. Like, I understand, like, how Arkham himself created Arkham and how his mom went insane because the father was, dead, and, oh,
Yeah,
it's a sad story, man.
yeah, for sure.
Alright, so let's move on. Let's talk about everyone's favorite Amazing Spider-Man. We got, that's issue 19, right? Yeah, issue 19. Um, I don't know. Listen, it I like the story with him and the female. Like, I
Yeah,
really enjoy actually him with her. I
yeah,
would love to see those 2 actually together, or her have a more, um, maybe supporting cast role in this series.
yeah,
But everything else, I don't really care. I really don't. I I was like, "Okay, it's kinda cool how he tricked Hellgate at the end of it,"
yeah.
but it's just I want Peter back home again. I think that's where he should be.
No, I agree with you. I Yeah, and it was fine. It was better than some of the issues in the space side of things, but at the same time, yeah, I'm ready for that part to be over. Let's just get him back. I do like his kind of relationship with her. It's a little bit different than we've seen
Yeah.
for him. He hasn't really dated anybody like her before. So,
She, like, sees him for him,
yeah.
right? Sees his, like, true heart, and, like, I really appreciated that because the character does, he is very selfless,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I like about her. She knows who he is as a person.
Yeah.
So so that was pretty cool. But besides that, like, let's just move on from Hellgate. I think it's almost
Yeah.
really at the end of the day, almost like a pointless, like, villain. Like, what's the point of all this, you know?
Yeah. Unless, they're building to something else beyond whatever he's supposed to help Hellgate do, if that's gonna, but probably not. It's probably just like after he does whatever he does with Hellgate, it's probably just gonna be over. And then we
Yeah,
just go back to, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So,
All right. Let's see. Next, I guess we'll go into our number 5. So what was your number 5?
oh man. You go first, man. I'm still ranking my books here. I was trying to do it fast enough, but I didn't quite make it.
My number 5 was Nemesis Forever, issue 5. It's the conclusion to the whole entire, um, I would say, run, at least
Okay.
for now. Um, this book was crazy. You just wind up seeing Nemesis lose at the end of the day. Um, it's so hard to explain this book if you didn't like read it, but he does die, basically kills himself because the plan didn't go as planned. And there is a female officer that lived, right?
Mhm.
And she is pregnant in the book. So her baby survives. And I think you're led to believe that Nemesis was reincarnated as her baby
Oh, wow.
because it shows her breastfeeding her baby at the end. It's a boy, and the baby's eyes are looking at you as the reader.
Oh, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And so it was kind of wild. So I was like, wow, what a crazy way to end this. So could this be the end of Nemesis? Yeah, probably, but I like the way it went out.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. I think I've got my number 5 now. I'll go with Devil on My Shoulder, issue number 2. This was another intense issue, like in a different way. So the first issue obviously was the trauma that she went through and everything, and we get a glimpse of that she's gonna come out for revenge. And this started off with the most brutal revenge tour that you could go on, right? Like she cuts off the soccer player's feet to
Uh-huh.
start the thing off, and just kind of picking them off one by one. And we see that the priest kind of trained her and kind of showed her how to single each one of them out, how to figure out their strengths and weaknesses and all that stuff. I thought that was really interesting, and it wasn't as emotionally intense as the first issue was. So I mean, that was definitely a stronger issue in that regard. But just the I don't know, the level that she is going to get her revenge on these guys is equally intense in a different way. So
That's cool. I was never able to read it,
yeah. Okay.
unfortunately,
Well, that
because of
happened at the beginning of the book, so you're not really spoiled too much about it.
right,
Yeah.
just because my shop was never got it in, and I
Yeah.
was like,
I
"Oh,
forgot about
dang."
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I wasn't able to read it, but I'm glad you liked it, like,
Yeah.
I think Kat said she didn't like it as much as the first
Right.
issue.
Yeah, it wasn't because that first issue had that emotional punch. You don't get that here, but if you want to see these guys get what's coming to them, this issue definitely has that in spades. So that's all I'll
Gotcha.
say about it. Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's move on to DCKO Night Fight. This is issue 3. Uh, dude, I love this. I love this tie-in. I think it's so well drawn. I love the action that's in here. I love obviously Batman trying to outsmart the heart of Apocalypse, right? A heart of yeah, Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And what's it called? And I love how it like gave him an ultimatum. And the end of this book, I was like, what? I'm like, that's just kind of weird to see Damien with a child named Alfred. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so they were like, "We can't kill him with, turning his whole family against him and everything, so we'll kill him with kindness and happiness and all of that." Yeah. It was a crazy way to go, unexpected. And how
That's what
does
they
he come?
said.
Yeah. How does he combat that now, though?
Oh, I don't know. That's what they said. They said the heart says, "I'm gonna play with your heart." And
Yeah,
so that's what you're going to battle against, and if you win, then I'll send you back in. So
right.
that's kinda crazy. I'm so looking forward to the next issue.
Yeah. You know he's gonna win, but it's
Oh, of course, yeah, of
it'd be
course he
fun to
is.
see how he gets there, yeah.
He's gonna get back in the tournament, face Joker, and kick the Joker's butt.
Yeah. What if the end of the tournament ends up being Joker versus Lex Luthor? That's the way
Oh
it's
god,
going.
that'd be crazy. That would be insane. Alright, let's move on to, Venom issue 253. I love this issue. I thought
Man.
this one was really good. We got the return of Paul in here, and he moves out, he gets his own place, he's all excited, it gets blown up, and then
Oh
he's forced
man.
to go back to Mary Jane's place. Oh my god, it's so hilarious, but I loved it. I love how, um, Madame Mask was actually, like, keeping tabs on Mary Jane with this, like, nanobots or whatever it
Yeah.
was, listening in on all the conversations, and then she had to, like, outsmart hit her. I thought that
Yeah.
was so good, and the, interaction with, Flash in there too was kinda cool. Artwork continues to be solid. Just overall, it was just a it's just a fun comic. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and they teased a little maybe Mary Jane Flash kind of relationship
Yep.
as
I think
well.
when they were done with that conversation,
Yeah.
Flash asked her to go to lunch or a date or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, she was like, let's see where things are at after all this, and he's, like, shocked, like, "Really?"
Yeah,
"Okay." Which was my
exactly.
reaction too. I was like, "Really? Okay, here we go. That's
Yep.
interesting." Yeah,
Yeah, so I liked it. I am
yeah,
definitely looking forward to more, and now it's like we end up the issue with, like, Madame Mask in this AIM suit, and then
yeah.
she's doing battle against her in the Venom suit. So that's fun. That makes for a fun story.
Not to mention she took out all the contenders to be the head of AIM at the beginning of the
Yes.
book, like, systematically just like, "What's that beeping sound?"
Yeah, boom,
That was
and
hilarious,
then so
and
she makes a deal with MODOK because he's in
yeah,
prison, so
right, and
it's very smart, though.
yeah, and every character in this book had a little time to shine. You had Dylan with some one-liners, you had Paul and his freakouts, and yeah, Mary Jane and Flash and Madame M.A.S.K. Yeah, it was a fantastic issue. I had a lot of
I
fun.
just love when they were all talking, like, writing on a like, a
Yeah,
notepad or whatever,
right.
and then, she's, like,
Better
telling Paul
acting. Yeah,
Yeah, better acting, yeah, it's so funny.
that was hilarious. Sorry, I stole your thunder there, but yeah. No, that was funny, and she kept telling him over and over again.
Yeah, because "You suck, Paul, you literally suck at everything." It's great.
So funny.
Oh, alright, so we talked about Devil on My Shoulder, so, we gotta actually do our number 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
Um, is
mine,
I almost skipped the other 2 there.
yeah, mine is actually DCKO Night Fight. So we already talked about
Okay. My number 4 is mine is Night Fight also.
it. Is it really?
Yeah. Okay. So cool. So we did our first, we did our number 5, we talked about KO.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Batman. Right.
oh, I missed Ultimate Wolverine.
Oh, you did.
I did, and I skipped I skipped down on accident. So
Yeah.
Ultimate Wolverine, this is where there wasn't a lot that happened in
No.
this story, but I still liked the fighting aspect of Wolverine because there's not too often that I feel like where we see Wolverine just go balls to the walls action in an entire issue. And
Yeah.
that's what you got here.
Hmm.
And he put someone out of his misery. It was a bloody, gory mission trying to go out, get medicine or whatever for Jean Grey. That is literally what happens in the issue, but
Yeah.
I did like the action aspect of it.
Yeah. I like the action aspect of it. There were definitely better issues of the series, but you can tell it's on its way out by the way this
Mm,
was structured.
of
But it's
course.
it's still a good book. It was the sleeper hit of the Ultimate Universe, I feel.
I agree. I didn't expect it to be this good.
No, me either.
All right, so let's see. All right, so we did our number 4. We talked about Venom. We talked about Devil on My Shoulder. Let's talk about let's talk about Batman. This is issue 5. Um, best issue for me, I think overall for Batman.
Okay. It
Yeah,
was a really good issue.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this. I loved how no Batman was in this. It was all Bruce Wayne
Mhm.
taking Dr. Ziller out,
Yep.
and we can tell that I feel like they do like each other. They said it wasn't a date, and Bruce is like, "Yeah, you thought this was a date," and they're running from these people that are on the motorcycles with these swords, and he's stunt driving, he's jumping off of buildings, and they're and then you get this whatever this villain's name is with the swords that turns into a
Yeah.
bird, and the next thing you see is Robin shows up, and she's like,
I love that scene. Yeah.
"What?" She's
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
what is he
"Father."
talking about?"
Oh, man, that was hilarious. It's like, "Dude, come on. You're better than that, Robin."
Right? Oh my god.
But
But the artwork was phenomenal in
the
this book.
artwork was so good, and it was just like this whole chase scene and Bruce Wayne fighting villains and she being like, "How can you do this?" Basically. "What is
Yeah.
going on here?" Yeah, it was a really good issue, really fun issue.
All right. So let's see. We're gonna dive right into the number 3. So what is your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is the, Absolute Batman Arkham special.
Okay. My number 3 was Venom 253.
Okay.
So that works, right?
Yeah.
And let's see. So let's go on now and talk about Absolute Superman issue 15. So this is a new jumping on point.
Mhm.
We got the artist that did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on this issue. The coloring felt off for me on this. If
Did
I
it?
said in my review that sometimes the coloring looked like a crayon was used to do the coloring, because
Really?
that's kind of the style that they were going for, especially like in the very first page in like the bottom panel. Like they used his cape and it was like they scribbled on the page. It just
Mm,
seemed that way to me.
okay. Gotcha.
Um, not that it was bad. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just it was different,
just
right?
different, yeah.
But the story itself was really good because it really showcases, Clark trying to balance everything, how taxing it is to help everybody, to take care of the farm, trying to establish relationships with either Lois or Lana, and there was all those different things in that comic, and, again, this was the perfect jumping on point for a lot of readers in case you have not, read it yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought it was a really solid issue. I think it was, like, one of the first books I read, so I'm a little sketchy on the details of it, but I do kinda remember what you're saying. Um, but I remember thinking this would be a great point to come in on for a new reader that didn't kind of follow all that because I think they did a decent job of setting it up where he's going. So he actually is in the suit now. That's one important,
Right,
distinction from the first because he was in that black suit. I think somebody even commented, the black was cool, but I really like you in the blue.
right.
Um yeah. And yeah, I remember really enjoying it at the time. I don't remember the details, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's basically what I explained.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is, you know?
Mhm.
So there's that.
I love that he's accepted this planet as his own now.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for this comment. I love your Decepticon hat, Mike Spider Slayer.
nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we both did. I wore a Transformers shirt with a hat. I
That's
didn't even
awesome.
realize it. Um, oh, I do remember that he wanted to do the fields manually like Paul would. Yeah,
Right.
that was part of it.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about X-Men issue 23. So we mentioned this book a little bit before,
Yeah.
how Tony Daniel did the artwork in this book, and it looked a lot better than Ryan Stegman's art, a
Yeah.
lot cleaner.
Mhm.
Um, just overall, it was a brilliant book to look at. And here we got to see what happened to Cyclops, how he's uh the 10 years into the future Cyclops and trying to take out Doug in the present day.
Yeah. Interesting. That it feels like the way that they structure, especially the way it ended with the what Doug said at the end, it feels like him going back in time was actually the catalyst for the entire Age of Revelation. It wasn't going to happen otherwise. Which,
Right.
yeah, it's like, oh my god, we're doing this time bindy windy kind of thing where it's like you messed it up by doing it. You know what I
Right. If
mean?
he never did it, he would have never
Yeah.
became what he was. I mean, and I liked his reasoning behind it because he's just
Hmm.
like, well, why don't you just prevent me from doing these things? And then
Right.
Cyclops is just like, because it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah.
So now are we getting this version of Cyclops going forward?
No, he came back into his body, right?
He did he? I I
I
don't
think
I
he
don't
did.
know. Okay.
I think he did. I think at
That's
the
where
very
I'm confused.
yeah, I think at the very beginning he was originally back in, and then it flashed back to the when he was in the Age of Revelation, and showed us how it worked out, but we didn't go back to the present by the end of the book. So
Okay.
yeah, so I think that's where things are at, but we don't know what the status quo is in the present yet then, because all we've seen is Cyclops in jail. So
Gotcha. Okay.
that was my understanding anyway. I
All
could be
right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little confusing, so we'll see what
yeah.
happens with the next issue.
I also want to know where Hank went. Like, because Hank was supposed to switch too, but it was obviously somebody else, and
Right.
we see that other character towards the end as well. So it's like, okay, where is this going? That
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. So I wanna say it was a much better issue. It's probably the best
yeah.
issue of X-Men I've read in quite some time.
It's been a while. Yeah,
Yeah, you felt a lot of tension, you felt a lot of emotion, and that's
yeah,
it's like what you need, and then you add that Tony Daniel artwork in there, and you're like, "Yeah, that's
yeah.
what every
And
X-Men book should be."
finally, there's a little bit of direction because it felt like they were just kind of aimless a little bit. They were arguing with the government a little bit here and there, fighting 3K or whatever a little bit here and there, but it was nothing. No primary directive. I
Right, you're kinda like, "Why does this book exist?"
yeah,
Alright, cool. Alright, so with that, let's go to our number 2. What was your number 2?
mine was Batman.
And mine was Absolute Batman Arkham.
So okay.
So that was that.
So I have a feeling we have the same like top three. They're just all switched around.
Right,
So
yeah,
we'll see.
exactly. Okay, so let's talk about Absolute Green Lantern,
Okay,
issue 10.
that was a good issue too.
It was cool. I like the action
Yeah,
and the suspense.
yeah,
Obviously, when Joe is injured and she's trying to get those bullets out from her,
yeah,
and the gold character is like knocking down the door and just I love that tension buildup that was happening.
yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm kind of lost of what this book is at this point. You got Hal Jordan sitting on the couch in a coma. She's escaping this gold character. It's like, when did this become more of a detective, like mystery? Like, it's just weird. It's a little
Yeah.
bit all over the place for me.
Okay. So all right. So right now it's Hector Hammond versus the good guys. That's how I'm kind of viewing it. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
he sent Goldface and all this stuff. He's siphoning all these powers. He's trying to, and which makes sense. He's a classic Green Lantern villain, right? So um yeah, but you're right. I don't know like where all the allegiances are because it seems like even all the good guys are at odds with each other. Like Joe has her ex, they're kind of on the outs. Then there's Simon who was at their wedding, so they know each other, but he's trying to take her. You don't know who's on what side and who's what their
Yeah.
reasoning behind anything is. So I get your frustration there. I totally understand that. Um, so I'm a little lost on that in that regard too. At the same time, I did really enjoy the emotional impact of this issue, and I
It
like what they're doing with Joe. Um, but yeah, I agree. It needs some kind of I don't know what. It needs something to just kind of lay it out for us a little bit.
right.
Say this is what we're doing. Yeah.
Like, what is this actual book? Is it
Yeah.
a Green Lantern book in the Absolute Universe? Is this a Joe book? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. So,
Yeah.
I
It
and there's the thing, it says, well, that's what makes it fun.
yeah.
To a degree, yes, but there's something missing from this book, right?
If you
I just
yeah.
and I can't figure it out.
If you think of it in terms of Joe and Agent Chase are Hal and Carol. Maybe that clears some stuff up. I don't know. That just came to me. Like maybe I try to twist my thinking and put them in those roles and see if that feels more like a Green Lantern book to me. I don't know.
Right. It's just like we had Hal Jordan in this book, and he's just completely off the map right now.
Yeah.
And it's
He's kind of like Will in Stranger Things.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll continue to read it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to you read Nova Centurion,
Yeah. It
and
it was kind of the weakest issue of the run so far, fortunately,
right,
personally. He's battling Ravenous, and it's like a throwback thing to Annihilation. But it was that's all it was. It was they were fighting and he gets his bounty, and then there's like maybe a fox in the hen house, so to speak. Somebody's, not um, not as loyal to the cause on his ship. That's kind of the cliffhanger we get left off with. So not a whole lot happened in this issue. I really like Rich. I think this feels like Rich, but at the same time, like you feel about Green Lantern, I don't really know what this is yet. Like
right,
right now, he just took a couple of random jobs, bringing in some villains. He's basically a bounty hunter at this point. And it's like,
right.
where are we going with this? So
Yeah, I can see that. I can
yeah,
see. Yeah, I just couldn't at first there was something there I knew at the end of the first
yeah,
issue. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. So
yeah. It's the only reason I'm holding on is because I'm such a Richard
yeah,
Rider
sure,
fan.
absolutely. Yeah,
Otherwise, if it was any other character, probably I'd drop it. It's just, yeah,
gotcha.
it's my love for that character from New Warriors that
Right, of
kept me
course.
hooked. Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, you're number one.
My number 1 is Venom. I really enjoyed this issue. It
Yeah, it
was
was a
just
fun
a
issue.
lot of fun.
Mine was Batman issue
I
5.
figured. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had the same top 3, just switched
Yep.
around.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So let's close off the show here real quickly. I'm down to 12% now.
All right, we'll go
Um,
through these quick.
yep.
So we got the most anticipated, and I just did different books because basically Mike's top 3 are my top 3 most anticipated books, and I just didn't want to copy them. So I threw in a few other books. So I'll talk about those very quickly. Battle World number 5, the only reason it's in this list is because in previous issues, we've gotten multiple characters from the CrossGen universe. And I love CrossGen, and I'm
Uh-huh.
so excited. We've seen characters from Sojourn, from Meridian, from Mystic, and I just want to see if they throw anybody else in. I'm excited about that. That's it.
I I dropped this.
Yeah,
I
I figured.
after issue 3, it got to be too much. Like it
Yeah,
was just it's like reading this book for me was like a chore. It's the same
yeah,
thing. It's like just so much information that's always constantly being fed to you.
yeah, and I completely agree with you. Literally, the only reason I'm reading is because it's got CrossGen characters in it.
Gotcha.
I'm dead serious. Yeah.
That's
Because
funny.
they don't do anything with those characters. They bought that whole company's, library, and they do nothing with them. And so I'm glad somebody picked it up and was obviously a fan of them as much as I was to do something with them. So
Right.
yeah. All right. So my number two, I'm just gonna go through my three real quick. My number
Okay.
two is Dungeons of Doom, and the reason being, Mike, is because I think this is the continuation of Red Hulk's story.
Oh, okay.
It's written by Benjamin Percy. Red
Yeah.
Hulk is the central character in it, and they're
Okay.
going back into the Dungeons of Doom. I
They're
forget
trying
the
to take
reason.
the technology, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and there's other stuff down there too. So I think this is where they continue his story.
It's a 3 issue story, isn't it? I think
I
that's what it is.
maybe I don't
I th
remember
I
exactly, but
think.
yeah,
But,
it's
n
something though.
yeah, I am looking forward to this a lot, and
Yeah.
it's funny, the main cover of this reminds me of Doctor Doom's, Fearfall ride in Universal or
Oh
Islands of
yeah,
Adventure.
yeah,
That cover looks just like it. So, like, when
nice.
you're sitting in about to go all the way up in the sky,
Yeah.
that's what you're looking at right before you launch.
Oh, that's
Is
cool.
yeah, you're looking at these doors or whatever it is. It's kind
Yeah,
of funny. But yeah, I am excited to read this as well. And like you said, Benjamin Percy's writing it. So it's
yeah,
like I'm on board since he wrote the whole other Red Hulk series.
Right, exactly. And then my number 1, like I said, your top 3 are my top 3, but my number 1 is Aquaman number 13. And the reason because I it's Mera versus that future version of her daughter. They're fighting against
Mhm.
each other. So I'm curious to see how that comes about, how that ties into DCKO and Aquaman being this, godlike being and all this stuff. So yeah, it seemed interesting. So
I'm picking it up, so
yeah.
I'm gonna see. Being that it's all the KO stuff, I've been picking all
Right.
that stuff up.
Yeah.
So
All right. So going into your number 3, G.I. Joe number 17, the last issue of the Dreadnought War. We're gonna find out
yeah,
what happens. Excited.
I
Yeah.
I am so excited. What's gonna happen to everybody here? Um, is so, it does have a cliffhanger. It says the
Yeah.
last page will surprise you, and
Yeah.
it says, "Does someone die?"
That's what it says. Yeah.
So, who is going to die in
I don't
this
know.
whole ordeal, you
I
know?
think I'm gonna stick with my prediction. Major
Yeah,
Blood takes out Baroness. Yeah.
it could be because you saw all the Joes come at the end and rescue Duke.
Right.
So at that point, it could be anybody.
Yeah. And
So
we also know we saw that little scene of Major Blood and how he wants his revenge on her.
yeah,
So
that would be
I
crazy.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could be Cobra Commander or Duke. We don't know.
Well, that would be even crazier.
Yeah. Right?
Holy crap, yeah.
But that's the thing about this universe. Anything can happen. And that's what's
Right.
so fun about it. We don't know. You don't have a clue. It's like
Yep.
nobody's safe, really.
Yep.
So all right, so your number 2 is DCKO number 3. Obviously, we're really enjoying this event all together, so
Yeah, and in this issue, what's freaking cool is this is like tag team style. So
oh,
they are joining in teams
yeah.
and they're going to be facing off against the other heroes and villains. So what
Okay.
are the teams?
Oh, man.
It could be a person that you're not like associated with. Remember,
Right.
the Heart of Apocalypse can make the rules. So you could be teaming up with a villain. So I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
It could be Joker and Jake Garrick or something,
Oh
crazy.
god, that could be that's just going to be insane.
Oh, man. I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. And then finally, topic of the hour, we talked about this particular book a lot in different ways throughout this show. Transformers number 28. We've
Yeah,
got we've got a story with, Bulkhead and is it Mirage or
Mirage,
yeah,
yeah.
and then we've got
So
the RCTs, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that's basically what this issue is about, and then obviously, um, I think they're trying to get Soundwave back as well.
yeah,
So, we'll see what happens there, but I am definitely looking forward to it, and maybe again, we'll get more hints on Mask, but I think the big Mask drop will be, like, in that Energon Universe free
free
comic book
comic book
day
day.
issue, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's the smart move, right? Give it away for free, hook them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I don't
So
know, it's exciting stuff. It's gonna be a big week this week, so a lot
it
of big
is.
stuff.
There's a lot of overall, there's a lot of comics coming out,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of good comics coming out.
exactly. Yeah, so it's gonna be a fun one. Lots to talk about once Cat's back next week, and it'll be all
Yep.
3 of us, and yeah.
Yeah, I think someone made a comment saying, "Yeah, Cat would have went to lunch by now."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, her thing is Power Rangers, that's for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, all right, that's it. There was one last comment says here, maybe we'll get Zartan that shows up.
Yeah, that would be fun. I hope he does eventually show up.
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah. I think all the mainstays will show up eventually, We
Exactly.
talked
You
about
just
Snake Eyes
gotta
earlier, yeah.
you gotta build it up. You can't let
Yeah,
everybody out at one time.
right. Yeah, and it's gotta make sense. Like, we've got the Dreadnoks, maybe after this war, he comes in, it's like, "You guys can't do anything without me," and, Unity
Right.
comes into the scene, yeah.
Shows up all blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing I ever thought. Like, he goes in the sun and he, like, gets blue.
Yeah. Again, color change technology was the
Yeah.
rage.
Yeah, exactly. So
Uh,
funny. All
all
right.
right.
Well, that's it. That's our show. I got it in. I just got the warning. Power excuse me, your battery is low.
Yeah.
Plug in your device. I don't have the charger here.
Just in time then. All
Yeah.
right. Let's wrap it up before Mike just disappears.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching tonight. It was a great
That
story
was
or
fun.
great chatting with you about these cool stories. As always, make sure you guys subscribe to our channels, Comic Book Corner 2.0. Only good comics. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. And wish you guys a happy new comic book day tomorrow. Hopefully, you find everything you're looking for and have a wonderful night. And we will see you all next week. Good night, everybody.